Questions, guys?
Malik said that this comes down to him, the team needs to fight more. I was curious if that's an assessment you agree with.
Yes.
Where does that come out? Is that physical or mental?
Both. Yeah, both for sure.
I asked Malik and all the players that were out here. They said there's been a lot of preparation. They're one of the most prepared teams when it comes to game day, but they couldn't tell me where the breakdown was. Where do you think the breakdown is between preparation and practice, and what's displayed on the floor on game day?
Yeah, tonight was a game, in my opinion, that's going to require a lot of physical toughness because that's Mississippi State's identity. They have one of the most dynamic kind of scorers in college basketball, and then, in my opinion, they have a bunch of tough guys around them, physically tough guys. So how's that translate to the basketball game? I didn't see us get many 50-50 balls. We probably fouled less than we have all year long. That wasn't the game plan. There just wasn't enough physical plays, specifically with rebounding, 50-50 balls, driving the ball to the basket and demanding the contact, going out and setting a screen and knowing that you're going to get physically bumped. They were topping our down screens a lot. We absolutely had a clear game plan for that, which required some physical toughness, and we didn't do that. And then equally, it's just the mental toughness. I think the guys really wanted to win today. They understood what was at stake with the rivalry game. But then when things don't go our way a little bit early, you got to hang in there. This needs to be a game where you're down 8, 9, 10 points at halftime. I thought in the first half was where the game was really lost. The mental toughness. I think we got 4 or 5 really good shots early. It was another game where we didn't turn the ball over. We had the right guy taking the right shot early for the most part. Then when things don't go our way, it impacts our defensive, I think, intensity. There's a price to win. It's not free. It requires a physicality, especially against an opponent like this. And then it requires just a mental toughness that you got to kind of dig in. We got 2 performances tonight. Statistically, Dia and AJ played well on the stat sheet, but that's not enough. We need that 3rd or 4th guy. He was absent tonight. I think Mississippi State, that's exactly what they got. Hubbard does what he does, had a really complete game. But they had a couple other guys really step up tonight.
These guys were devastated, obviously, sitting in front of us, and I asked how to boost morale. They really didn't know what to say. How do you boost morale when, after a 7-game losing skid?
Yeah, I don't know if they're devastated or not. So that's a question for them. That's why I gave you guys access to the players. What you do is you keep chipping away, and you understand that, life ain't fair. It's you're going to go through adversity as a man, father, husband, teammate, coach, player. It's just life. You get up every day. And I think, these guys have done some good things in terms of continuing to fight. I think in tonight's basketball game, though, we weren't physically tough enough to keep the game in arm's length early when shots weren't going down. And then there's just a mental toughness. Some guys know how to win, and some guys don't. And then we're doing everything in our power to teach guys how to win. And tonight just wasn't there for us. Obviously in the second half, the offense opens up. We score 50 points. But at that point, it's like, complimentary basketball. You got to get stops while you're scoring. And I credit Mississippi State. They continue to put a lot of pressure on us. When they shoot the 3 like that, it's going to be tough. But tonight should not have been the kind of loss it was. It should have been a 1 or 2 possession game with us having a chance at home to feed off our home crowd, which, by the way, was great. I just apologize for everybody that came to the game today, and we're gonna keep fighting. We're not gonna start pointing fingers up here. It's not the players' fault. It's everybody in the organization, including myself. Hats off to Jans and those guys. It's a big deal to try to sweep this series. We explained that to our guys. We were prepared. I think Mississippi State understood that as well. So it just wasn't the way we wanted to go down tonight, but I think a lot of it was how well Mississippi State played tonight. Specifically, Hubbard does what he does. They had some complimentary players, played great floor games. I thought they were physically tougher than us for the majority of the game. 50-50 balls, rebounding, hard screens, getting back on defense. The things that we needed to do tonight physically, we didn't do consistently. Then there's a real mental component of this. We needed to be down 10, 11 points at halftime. That's where it needed to be tonight based on the way the game was going. We showed a little bit of fight at the start of the second half. We won the first 2 4-minute games, but we couldn't separate. Then they made some timely shots. I mean, they had some guys out there making threes that's not what they do. But when you're playing at home for what was at stake today, you've got to fight through those tough moments mentally more than anything. I think, our guys hang their heads pretty quick. And so that's something we'll just continue to work on. I think that'll be the lesson in this game, when we get back to work on Monday.
Coach, over in Stark where you put a bigger guard on Hubbard, and that worked over there, but it didn't seem to work as well tonight.
Yeah, we were trying. Klafke's our version of a bigger guard. Ilias, I thought Josh played with a lot of poise tonight. We trapped him early. He got the ball out of his hands, but he played with great poise. The guy is a really, really good player, especially when you let him go downhill with his right hand. Trust me, that wasn't only on the scouting report. That was in game coaching, every time out, every dead ball, and we just didn't get it done. To me, that's a fair question to the players. Were you trying to take away Hubbard's right hand tonight? What happened? But I don't know if you guys asked that question or not.
In your coaching career, have you ever been through a skid like this? Is this uncharted water for you?
I have not. And that's okay, man. It's a chance to get better. It's a chance to compete. Still have a lot of belief in this team. I promise you that's not coaching speak. I mean, we're going to play it all the way to the bone. We're going to play it all the way to where they tell us we can't play again. We'll get ourselves ready to practice on Monday, and next game's the next opportunity. But to answer your question, no, I have not. And so it's a challenge for our coaching staff, but, through challenges, there's always a chance to come up on top. And so there's a lot of learning lessons for everybody involved in our organization right now. We're not going to quit. We're going to keep fighting. And super appreciative of our fan base and our student body, not quitting on us either. Another good crowd today. Saturday, great weather in Oxford. And from my vantage point, fans were really trying to help us get back in the game, stay in the game. And so, nobody's going to quit around here. We're going to keep fighting. Next game's an opportunity. That's all we can do, and that's what we will do.
What do you feel like was the biggest difference between the game in Starkville versus tonight?
Without watching the tape, I just get back to these two things. The physicalness. We didn't get a lot of 50-50 balls tonight. Hell, we didn't foul enough on defense. What I mean by that is when guys are getting A-zone shots, several guys on that scouting report, we had a no layup rule on. Our screening wasn't physical enough. Our defense wasn't physical enough. Just the competition with Hubbard, too. Like, when they scratch their offense and it's you and Hubbard and it's one-on-one, I mean, let's compete. Guys understood when we had fouls to give. I don't even think they got to the bonus until a couple minutes left. Maybe they didn't get into the bonus at all in the second half until we were fouling late. But we needed to be more physically competitive tonight. And in the mental side, this game isn't easy. Like, there's going to be good times in the game. You got to be mentally tough enough to stay grounded and not get too high. There's going to be challenging times in the game. We had plenty tonight, and that's when you got to dig in mentally. You need a captain. And I mentioned Dia and AJ had great, not great, good individual games tonight on the stat sheet, but neither guy had a captain performance tonight. Ilias was as quiet as I've ever seen him. And that'll be the first thing that I try to figure out on Monday morning is why we didn't get a better game from our point guard.
Chris, Matthew Morrell was in attendance today. How cool was it to see someone that made history here at Ole Miss and a former player of yours?
Yeah, awesome. I saw Matt before the game, and his mom Gladys is a friend at this point. I don't know if we were friends when I was coaching Matt. But we're friends now. Matt's dad's a great guy. Matt's got a awesome girlfriend. I mean, Matt, just disappointed, man, when you get your players to be able to come back, to not play better and to celebrate a win with those guys. I even told Matt before the game, if we can get this done, man, please come to the locker room after the game. So, all of our guys are doing great. Matt's started his pro career in a good way, and just always appreciative of Matt for sure. It was awesome to see Matt tonight. Wish it would have been under a better ending of the game.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.